He's a board-certified internist, addiction specialist, media personality, and a total dreamboat. Wow. Yes. Everybody give it up for Dr. Drew. We
just love having you around.
I love being here. You guys are amazing. You know I love being here with you.
Thank you.
My boo. I look at see my boo when I come out on the set.
All right now. So, Dr. Drew, we always love having a man's perspective at the girl chat table.
Yep. I've taken my estrogen, though. I'm ready.
Okay. There we go. So that means you're ready to keep it 100 with us today.
Yes.
All right. Here we go now.
I just wanted to hear him say keep it 100. He was like, keep it 100.
Can you say it?
I'm going to keep it 100.
Yeah, 100.
There we go. Dang. All right.
Yeah.
So first up,
Yeah.
Did you all know there's a major recession going on right now? Yeah. But it's not what you think. According to The Atlantic, young adults and millennials are in the middle of a sex recession. While you'd think young people would be having sex left and right in the age of Tinder, apparently that's not the case. A national survey from San Diego State University found that young people today are on track to have fewer partners than members of the two previous generations, and that they're 2.5 times as likely to be abstinent.
Amazing.
Do you guys think this is alarming, or do you think it's accurate?
It's definitely accurate. Yeah, it's accurate for what I'm seeing. There's a millennial right there. She's like, this is what's going on.
Okay, hey, girl, yes.
100%.
Keep it in, keep it in.
One of the reasons is that it's so intense, the internet, the social media space, and pornography, people are sort of hiding out in that they aren't developing the usual relationship skills during adolescence. They don't date, they don't form relationships, they break up relationships. She's still nodding her head with me. And it results in people not really hitting their young adulthood and really not knowing how to get together.
So that's some concern.
It's some concern. I mean, they're sort of figuring it out for the most part. There's a lot of hanging out in groups, right? You guys
Group dates.
Little hooking up here and there, but not really having relationships. There's some concern.
Yeah.
I agree, though. I do feel there's a distance, more so because social media has made it easy to connect without having to actually... Back in the day, we used to show up at your house, ring the doorbell, call somebody.
Well, but you're right, Jeannie, there was always been stalking. That's right. I know you stalk these guys. I get it.
Really good.
But it's more so now. Young males particularly are freaked out. They're afraid. They don't want to be misunderstood or be seen to be violating any sort of boundaries.
Oh, that's true,
right?
too.
They're very frightened, and they don't have the usual skills. And when they hit young adulthood, they get attracted to somebody, and they form friendships with them. You guys have anybody that waxes your car and shows up and cleans your house for anything? You guys got one of those? A friend who's so nice, he's so sweet. Oh, she's got one. And
the hang around.
After 2 years, they call me and go, well, it's time now. It's time. And I'm like, it's time for what? They've been stalking you for those 2 years. And so...
So you're saying the way that when a man is hanging out with, or a young man at that age would be hanging out with you, he's probably onto you, but he doesn't want to make a move because he doesn't want to press.
Correct.
In all probability, you dated him for a minute and let him know this wasn't going to work.
Yep.
In his head, all he had to do was dedicate some time to wear you down. We get you where we can go ahead with this now.
So this is the weird thing. This is not saying that people aren't having relationships. This is saying that they're just not having sex.
It's both. It's
So
both.
it's a case of both.
I think somebody lying. I think they're lying.
Some people have a lot of sex. There's a lot of sex addiction still going on. There's a lot of stuff out there. But for the most part, the data shows very clearly it's down.
The data shows.
The data shows.
Okay.
Lonnie, my thing is, don't you think right now in just the temperature of the world and everything that's going on, I actually think more than ever people want deeper, more meaningful relationships, and maybe that's what they're holding out for, that they're just not like, I just don't want to sleep with a bunch of people. I actually would like to have something that matters. People are lonely right now. There's a lot going on in the world. You want something that you could really hold to, and I'm not talking about a piece of, you know?
Yeah.
Well, okay, you know, I believe in numbers too, boo, but the thing is that I'm concerned where the numbers are coming from.
Sure.
And so that's why I don't think it's necessarily, it depends on where they're getting the case studies and things like that.
You're right, of course.
Because, I mean, I'm looking at all these rappers, and a lot of them got babies, and they having some sex, okay? And these are millennials.
As I said, some
Such
people...
a small percentage of the population.
Yeah, but I'm saying if wherever they're getting their data from, I don't think they're including like a lot of minorities, people of color. I'm like, that's my concern because I just don't see it. I know a lot of millennials and they having sex. They getting down. They get down in the bathroom. They get down in the car. They're getting down, but you know.
I agree with you in the thirst for having something deeper and something more connected. But I think that that's more for 30 and up. I don't see it as much for millennials.
Really?
Yeah.
I have
that
a lot
millennials. That's the millennial age.
Well, that's true. Okay, okay. So that's true. Maybe I'm thinking Z, Gen X, and college. Yeah, I don't think that. And I'm not
Because
belittling
I've got
them.
a lot of girlfriends that are even younger than me or in their 20s. I've got a lot of girlfriends that are in their
Yeah.
20s or that I work with, and they are choosing to be abstinent. They're waiting for something, and they're having, like you said, a difficult time actually finding something that they want to give themselves to.
And as
is
always,
awesome.
women are called.
Yeah.
Women call the shots, right?
Yeah,
women
right.
determine the general
Yes.
tone for these things.
Yes.
And Adrian, that one point you're making, I think, is absolutely true. People, they're not as sexually preoccupied
Yeah.
for the most part. Boo, not to take issue with what you said. You're right. There is that going on. But for the most part, Adrian, the way you described it is accurate.
Well, hopefully this lack of sex doesn't lead to a reverse baby boom, especially for those women whose biological clocks are ticking.
Yeah.
But did you know that a lot of men are in a rush to have babies too? According to a team of scientists, here we go again, from America's University of California, you know they ain't test no black people on this. Men have biological clocks too. They claim the difference is that while women's biological clocks start ticking faster at a certain age, men's clocks move more gradually over time. So, Dr. Drew, is it true that men have biological clocks?
We do, but we're much more focused on where we are in our life before we're ready to have babies and marriages and things.
Wait,
like that.
repeat that.
We're more preoccupied with where we are in our life than who we are with.
What you've accomplished.
I'm
Are you
not kidding.
financially
Are
stable?
you serious?
Which is
And-
why you
and-
hear more stories about the man wanting to
dude
wait
here.
before he asks
Yes,
to marry
yes.
or holds onto the ring or all that. It's
I-
true.
Who are you hanging around?
No,
They
he's
do
right.
say that it's about timing for guys, even with who
Timing.
they marry. It's not to say that somebody else wasn't a great girlfriend and that's why they didn't get asked to be the person's wife. The timing, he just ended up being in a different part of his life, and that woman was around, and that's who he ends up marrying. They do say
Even though,
that.
oh, Lonnie,
I have a question then.
Yeah.
When do you think men, generally, what age are they ready?
never. But listen, I literally, my daughter reminded me, listen, over the last weekend, my daughter reminded me that I told her that men should be locked up until they're 28. And she goes, you're right. They should be locked up until they're 28.
Yes.
Because our frontal lobes aren't working right. The prefrontal cortex isn't fully formed.
What?
Testosterone-
What is
Medical
that? What
fact?
is it?
Yes, it's just
What
the
is
nature
it?
of our biology. And I think back to my youth, and I would,
I know something at 28 that's working, though.
oh, that all works. But it doesn't have a brain attached to it.
Right,
That's
it's
the problem.
not thinking future and biological clock.
Consequences and executive function, all that stuff comes really into gear about age 28 or so for me.
Yeah.
Really?
So really, you shouldn't get married, are you saying, until after 28?
Well, I'm not really saying that. And some men are different, right? But most of us will agree that we didn't really fully. I mean, if you do 25, 26, you're starting to come into it a little bit. And some guys are more mature, right?
Yeah.
Adrian, you're like really interested in this. Like,
Yes,
tell
because
me
I
more.
think I always think it's great to listen to you because you're coming from a medical perspective.
Yep.
And I had no idea. I've always heard that men mature a lot slower than women. I never got the fact that they actually don't develop their who and what.
Prefrontal cortex, the part that's able to sort of make decisions and have executive functioning and be mature. All the things we associate with maturity contain impulses.
It's all making sense.
So they're under the influence of this hormone that turns them into animals. Most of their young
we're
adult
gonna
life.
say not all men.
Not all men. I'm not saying all men. I'm saying
This is just the
as
scientific part of it.
I'm speaking hyperbolically a bit. I'm speaking that some guys are this way, a lot of guys are this way, and it's something that they would acknowledge.
With all the medical aside, I truly do believe, though, that there are men out there. You guys know I believe in love, and I think that there is a
course.
certain age that you get to, or a certain relationship, or a certain woman that you meet that makes you want things you didn't want before.
And of course that happens. Of
Yeah.
course it does.
That's
We're in
nice.
sweeping generality. We're talking about
yes.
sort of
No,
general
I'm
trends.
saying for the biological clock, as we're tokening it, the biological clock, I think, happens for different people at different times. I think there definitely is. Look at someone like a George Clooney, who
Yeah.
went his entire life, he didn't have children.
Yep.
He met his wife, and suddenly the man wanted. I think that there's a certain quality in a certain kind of woman that can bring that out of you.
And Adrian, you know what we think in terms of as men is being the head of a family.
Yes.
It's not so much I want kids, it's I want to be the head of a family and I'm ready to do that now. It's a different than I want to have kids, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, also Alec Baldwin, he's 60. He has a 23-year-old. He has 4 small children: a 5-year-old, a 3, a 2, and a 7-month-old. So he is not slowing down. He is getting
No,
it on.
really though, and that's like the time when they really will be like, now that I'm older, I can settle down and be the father that I always wanted to be as well.
Yeah. So,
Well,
and
from
to-
wanting the perfect family to wanting the perfect body, if you're on the gram a lot like me, you can't help but see all those hashtag fitspirations. Have you guys seen that?
Yeah.
Okay, it's people that people post after they work out, showing off their insane bodies. And while some might think that's goals, a recent article on Psychology Today questions if these fitspiration posts are actually sending a healthy message. The article suggests that these posts could actually send the wrong message that you're only sexy if you have an amazing body, and that sayings like no pain, no gain could lead to people overdoing it to try and achieve perfection. So, do you all find that fitspiration posts on the gram are inspiring or are they insulting? I'm with you.
What'd you
Okay,
hear?
round of applause if you think they're inspiring. Round of applause if you think they're just
Insulting.
Wow, that's interesting.
They're-
Interesting.
Oh,
They're
we need to work
insulting.
on your mind, not your body then.
Yeah, well, but they set unrealistic expectations.
Yeah.
Not everyone's bodies are the same. It makes you want to look like somebody you're not.
That's
Yeah,
not
but-
common sense.
Yeah, and who's setting the unrealistic expectation? Is it the person posting, or is it you in your mind judging?
But then a lot of times I think they're saying that a lot of those people that post, you don't know what they actually did. You
Does
don't
it
know.
matter?
Yeah, it does matter. If
They
you're
change
doing
the
something
picture.
to alternate
Yeah.
your body that is not natural, it's okay, and that's your business. But don't act like you did it naturally.
I agree with that. My issue is I don't think we should be looking at anybody, natural, not natural,
And
expecting to become that person.
But
Yes.
no, I think that's why they call it fit inspiration. It's supposed to inspire. Then just say, you know what, I just want to show off my bomb-ass body. You know, put it
Yeah,
like
but
that.
some people
Okay.
have put in
Yeah.
crazy work. Like even someone like Amasi who was training me.
Yes.
Yeah.
You know, after she had her baby, she got a lot of flack and people were like, this is unrealistic expectations for mothers. I'm like, yo, the woman was at the gym every day through the 9 months
Yeah.
of her
And that's
pregnancy.
great, but a lot of mothers can't do that. Your average mother can't
That's
do
not
that.
her fault.
But yeah,
and she
No,
shouldn't
that's
be
not her
shamed.
fault. I'm not saying that's not her fault. I'm saying is don't sit back and say it's an inspiration. Say, I just want to show off my body, but don't try to inspire other people when it's unrealistic
No.
expectation for regular working people.
You
I
guys.
know, but what about someone
What
like
are
me?
we-
What
are
about
we
someone like
looking
me?
to?
What about
I
Jeannie?
think we should work. Okay. I think we should work to be healthy.
Yes.
Should it
100%.
be aspirational?
It could be aspirational.
But inspirational can be for health. Mossy
Yeah.
inspires me. When I see her, I'm putting on weight and I'm building and lifting heavy weights. I can't be a Mossy because Mossy's like super hardcore and that's what she does as her job. But I aspire to lift close to what she does. And when
be
I see
strong.
another woman can do that, no, yes, for lifting. And I learned that obviously if you're doing anything to aesthetically just look better, it's not gonna have a lasting effect on your confidence, point blank, period. But I did learn in just the last 2 years of really learning how to love my body differently and gain weight and put in the right places and put in the work, that strong is sexy. When you feel strong, you feel capable. That's inspiration.
One last thing I got to say that women already do they take on so much. You
Yes.
guys take on so much. You're inventorying in your head. You take responsibility for everything. Let's just not add another thing to them. Let's just celebrate them and not have them be
Yeah,
somebody
okay.
else.
Strong minds.
Yeah.
I
Let's
agree.
have strong minds.